Welcome to another edition of EdTalks. I'm my friend Tracy Donegan. Tracy, welcome.
Thank you, Ed. Thanks for having me today.
No, I love this because this is our digital leaders series, and everyone's always wondering, how do I become a great leader? And when I think about some of the great leaders, of course, you come to mind, hence being on the program. So I want to talk to you a little bit about your background so people that might not know you know a little bit more about you. This monumental project that you were involved with, and then just ask you a few questions about, like, what are some of the leadership things that really helped you and that might help others. So, Tracy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am an accountant by training who accidentally became a CIO. My mother was an accountant too, so I was followed in her footsteps and ended up as a CIO, later on in my career. I had spent half my year in consulting and half my year in leadership positions in many provider segments, such as hospitals, provider groups, HMEs, DMEs. So I've been around the block there, but also have experience in revenue cycle finance, strategy, and of course, technology.
Well, you have a great background, and actually, finance is like the perfect background, I think, for someone to become a CIO because so much of the role of CIO, if you don't know your finance and accounting, you're in big trouble. It's great that you have that background. It's probably one of the reasons for your success. So I know a little bit about MLK in LA, but I want you to tell the story because I knew people there when it was working in the community, but then maybe about 20 years ago or so, it went away and it came back. And you were there on the ground floor with several others as it came back, around 2012, opening up in 2015. Tell us a little bit about that story, and then we'll jump into sort of the leadership qualities.
It's such a beautiful story. The hospital had shut down and that left a gap in the community. And access had always been a problem in that community. This is, again, South LA, where there's a shortage of 1,500 physicians and it also has the worst health outcomes in Los Angeles. And so when the hospital shut down, it was a real loss. Community leaders and others got together to bring it back. And I started there in 2012. It opened in 2015, but we were just a small group of individuals to bring it back. There was nothing there, no building, no policies and procedures, no systems. And it really was an opportunity of a lifetime because we, from our collective experience in the industry, can build a hospital that the community could really be proud of. We could put the best of the best there, the best technology, the best leaders. And it wasn't an easy road. I mean, we definitely had bumps in the road, but we were just bound and determined to get it open and we were successful.
Yeah. No, I love that. It's a great story. People should look it up because, yeah, you're right. This is like in the heart of the community. You take away the hospital, and it's like, where do those people go? And the community came together and figured out a way to public-private partnership and had great leaders like you. And now look at it today. It's an amazing story. So, as you know, Tracy, when we were earlier in our career, we would look up to people like yourself today, like CIO, and want to be like you. So, what would you say are like two or three sort of key leadership traits that have really helped you thus far in your journey?
Well, let me answer that by saying, I think the qualities that helped me get to where I am might be good to know. I've always been a hard worker. As I said before, my mother was an executive, so I was always following in her footsteps. I took note of her work ethic and how she treated her employees. She treated people like the whole person.
Yeah.
And she also was a lifelong learner. And I've always felt that your learning just doesn't stop today. You're always growing, you're always transforming. And that's how I am today. I must have reinvented myself several times in this career from accountant to CIO and being willing to run towards things you don't know and to learn in the process is, I think, a wonderful trait to have. You learn so much from everyone that you work with too. People that work for you, people that you work around you. I've always taken note of their traits and borrowed some and those became part of my being. And I think that's really how I grew. The last part is taking advantage of opportunities when they come. When the hospital was being built and I heard about it, you don't care about what your job title is or what your career path is. What attracts me is what is going to be the experience of that particular journey. And I went to MLK without knowing, without having position, without having a career path, but I ran right towards it because I knew I would never get that opportunity again.
Yeah, that's amazing. I was just, if you saw me looking to the side, I was just taking a lot of notes. You just dropped like 6 or 7 super tangible things for our listeners regarding, how to achieve the type of success you have. And that's being a lifelong learner, being very opportunistic, taking initiative, taking chances, taking risk, running towards things, not afraid of things. A lot of times I think that's a natural propensity we have is like, hey, I'm comfortable just doing what I'm doing. So don't distract me. And yeah, it's just the learning from others. And then also just, you were blessed to have a mom in the industry that sounds like an amazing, wonderful leader and woman. And that's pretty cool as well. What would be the one thing you would say if you were asked to go back to your college alma mater? I know you got your bachelor's, you also got a master's, I think, from Cornell. So if they invited you back, that's one thing you would say to the graduating class, like, this is the one thing about life or about career.
Well, the one thing I would say is if something scares you, then you got to do it. You have no choice. It's always the minute I think about something scaring me, I always think, darn, now I got to do it.
I knew when we first met, I really felt a tight connection with you because we have the same sort of spirit like that. And that's really cool. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing with our audience all these great words of advice. So thank you for being our guest on EdTalks.
Thank you for having me.